Hi, my name's Georgia. Today I'm going to be talking about the correlation between musical preference and personality. Hopefully, at the very least after watching this video, you have learned something new. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Have you ever wondered why different people like different types of music? In the last few months, I began noticing different genres of music that people were listening to, particularly among my friends. And I observed that some of my friends seemed almost self-conscious when they were tasked with choosing a playlist when we were together, as if it was imperative that they choose songs that everyone liked to avoid being judged, even if no one was really listening to them anyway. And this made me question whether the music we listen to reflects directly onto our personality. And there's no definitive answer to just how much influence personality has over musical preference. However, hopefully after watching this video, you'll be more informed on the different factors that influence musical preference and the relationship between personality and music preference. Music has been an important part of humanity since well before recorded history. Throughout the ages, music has evolved with humanity, reflecting the technological, emotional and political aspects of history. Within the Western music scene, as music spread from the church environment to the entertainment scene, and new instruments and ways of playing and composing were developed, the plethora of genres we know today were established. With the amount of different styles of music around today, it's a given that we are not going to like every song we hear. So what factors determine which types of music we enjoy, and why do people like different genres? Nolan Gasser, in his 16 years as a musicologist, has identified 3 sources of musical taste. The first being the physics of sound. Basically, we enjoy sounds that fit well with other sounds. This is well known in a musical sense. A fourth, for example, sounds much more pleasant than a 7th. To any composer, this is a basic concept, the very foundation of composition. The reason why some notes sound better than others can only be explained by physics. All music is built on mathematical ratios based on sound waves. 2 notes that sound bad together can be described as clashing. In a physical sense, this is because the 2 sound waves are clashing into one another instead of fitting together. When a single note is sustained, it contains other softer notes above it in the same melodic sequence. This is called the harmonic series. This is the most basic factor that influences the type of music people like to listen to. Sound waves that sound good against or on top of other sound waves. The second factor is cultural difference. Every culture has their own way of interpreting the physiological basics and determining how they are used to produce a piece of music. We become anchored to a specific type of music because of the type of music that has surrounded us for most of our lives. In Australia, we're surrounded by Western music, which follows a specified structure. For example, the common 4-chord progression used in many pop songs. Whereas music from India or China sound distinctly different and are natural to us because they have their own structure, rhythms and chord progressions. Within one culture, there are many subcultures and social classes. Similarly, in music, within one broad culture, such as Western music, there are many genres, such as pop, hip-hop, jazz, and subgenres, pop-punk, Dixieland jazz. It is the experiences and influences of our subcultures and social classes that further refine our music preference. The third factor is psychology. Neurons in the brain connect when previously heard patterns are recognised, making the listener feel at ease because the information is not surprising. When listening to a pop song for the first time, the brain anticipates the next movement in the piece because of its predictability. This prompts dopamine, a chemical responsible for happiness, to be released. Songs that are less predictable, for example improvised jazz, can be less appreciated because this sense of anticipation is not fulfilled. therefore less dopamine is released. The reason these unpredictable styles are still enjoyed is because some people like the anticipation as they become easily bored with the repetitiveness of predictable songs. After a song or pattern has been heard a certain number of times, the amount of dopamine released in the brain begins to diminish. The exact point at which a song has been heard too much, which is referred to as pattern boredom, differs from person to person depending on personality. It has been assumed for decades that there is a strong connection between personality and music preference. However, until recently, there has been no conclusive study done to test this theory. In the last decade, there have been many more studies performed that have explored this connection, gaining some conclusive results. There is a plethora of different ways to classify personality, as well as many different genres within Western music. This makes it hard to compare the results from different studies against one another, to compare the consistency and accuracy of results from across all sources. By analysing 3 major studies conducted at the University of Cambridge, Curtin University and Nearest Analytics Limited, I've combined the findings from each to provide a list of genres certain personality types are more likely to enjoy. I also conducted a survey of my own to support these findings. However, my sample size was too small to show any significant connection. People who like structure and rules, are intellectually minded and good at strategic thinking, are generally introverted and comfortable with themselves, tend to like faster, intense styles with technical complexity, such as rock, punk, heavy metal, and classical. Interestingly, heavy metal fans and classical fans have very similar personalities. This may be due to the fact that both styles are very loud, complex, and dramatic. The biggest difference in personality between these two styles is that classical fans are more likely to have a high self-esteem, while heavy metal fans are more likely to have a lower self-esteem. People who are highly aware of other people's emotions, are intuitive, strive to help people, and are very passionate about things they believe in, are likely to like slower, mellow styles like blues, R&B, soul, soft rock, jazz, and singer-songwriter styles. If you're hardworking, appreciate order, stability, and teamwork, it's more likely that you will like country and pop. Extroverts that are good at making quick decisions have a short attention span and can be lazy sometimes, but are good leaders, often like pop, electronica, dance, hip-hop, and rap. The strength of these connections is debatable, as there are many crossovers in the data.
For example, meet Daniel. He is intuitive, highly aware of other people's emotions, generally introverted, and he strives to help people. However, most of the genres he identifies with are not related to any of these traits. He likes dance, electronica, and rock. Dance and electronica relate to completely opposite traits, and rock is only loosely related to the introvertedness.
People from all personality types enjoy listening to pop. As the name suggests, it is the most popular genre of music. However, the traits that are linked with pop music are the most likely to choose this genre over others. Although my survey did not provide conclusive evidence, it did depict this correlation.
Another interesting finding from my survey was the number of people that indicated they felt self-conscious when sharing new music with friends. I decided to put this question in the survey because sometimes people can be wary of displaying their true personality to others. And if there was a link between personality and music preference, surely there would be times when people become hesitant to share their musical tastes. 60% of people surveyed said that they had at one point or another felt self-conscious about sharing their musical tastes. Over 70% of my surveyed demographic, however, was under 18. And intriguingly, not one person in the over 40 age group said that they had ever felt self-conscious about their taste in music. So if we look at the answers from just the under 18s, 85% feel self-conscious about sharing their musical preferences. the most popular reason being because they felt like they would be judged. Again, the sample size is not big enough to say for sure, but the data collected suggests that in general, teenagers are more focused on fitting in and don't want to be seen as different or weird. During the early teen years, this is very common. Many young teens only listen to music that their friends listen to, but by the late teen years, individual opinions should have developed.
Personalities change throughout life, and similarly so do music preferences. Music preference begins to develop at around age 10 and is fully developed by the late teen years. During this time, the brain tags particular emotional memories, and these memories are used to shape personality. If that memory is associated with music, it can also shape the musical preference. So, to what extent does personality influence musical preference? There is no definitive answer. Currently, the science of psychology is not advanced enough to find exact measurements. It is definite that there is a connection between the two, and from that we can make predictions about a person from their musical tastes. However, it should be only used as a rough guide, as there are many other factors that contribute to the musical choices we make.